Again, my name is Thomas Colgrove. I'm an implementation manager here at Amplifund. I've been working diligently with the folks at IDFPR to try and help simplify this process for you as much as possible in the pre-award. They've done a really great job, Denise, Ricky, Paula, on following along with everything and trying to get inside your heads to make this as simple as a transition as possible. So kudos to them for that. And the experiencing that I'm bringing to this demo is I've worked with 21 agencies across the state. So I have a broad as well as multifaceted understanding of your needs, the funders' needs. And I'm going to bring that to this demo today and really do my best to make it as great of an experience as possible and a tool that you can reference as you're filling out your applications. So what we're going to do is go through a product demo overview. I'm going to go through my process uh, and share some tools that you'll receive. And then we'll go into a product demo agenda. Then we'll do the product demo. I'll go over some customer support. And then finally, we'll wrap up with any final question and answer. The first thing we're going to do is review some tools because I want you to know what you're going to be getting as a result of this. And Ricky, really quickly, I did make you a co-host, so if people do end up popping in and I miss it, you can go ahead and add them. I think you've been doing that. Then when we get into the demo, what I've found helpful after you see the tools, this will make a little bit more sense. But essentially, I'm going to provide you this video with chapters in it, so you don't have to listen to me talking about this introduction. You can go straight into how you fill out your applications. So what we'll do is we'll go through the demo section. I'll ask you to hold your questions until the end of that section. Then I'll open it up for questions from the applicants or any additional context from IDFPR. Then we'll move to the next section, and that'll make a much better tool for you moving forward. With that, let me go ahead and show you the video style that you're going to receive a link for. You're going to get a video, and these chapters are going to be across the bottom here. So if you really just want to worry about, this is for the post-award processes, but let's say you just want to go into, the budget portion of things. Well, you can click on that chapter, and from there, you can just watch that 5, 7, 10-minute section of the video. You don't have to watch anything else. Then you also have received or will receive pre-award written instructions. And this goes through basically everything I'm going to go through in the demo. If you just want to learn how to figure out or how to enter your budget, rather, you click on the budget. It takes you to that screen. You can add some get all the information that you need. And then also, so you don't have to scroll up and down so much, you can always just click on the heading and go back to the table of contents. This is the pre-award side of things. As we move forward with the process and getting this program into the system, you'll also be receiving very similar tools and guidance for the post-award processes. And those are in flight, and we'll give the agency will provide more communication about that as we get closer to that time frame for the program. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at the demo. So I'm going to go through the GATA grantee portal. I want all of you to understand some of the basic concepts about that and some tools you have from the Amplifund support site. We're going to take a look at the CSFA, and I'm also going to do a sneak peek of the IDFPR announcements page on their website, just so that, probably all of you have already accessed it, but I think it's pretty neat how they did that. So I'm going to go ahead and showcase it. Maybe you can share that with whoever or at your own organizations or use it as a reference for yourselves. And then we're going to get into filling out the application, and particularly the opportunity details, navigation and project information, the application forms, the budget, submitting the application, and then your applicant portal. So for the first section, we're going to review the GATA grantee portal. Essentially, if you go to the CSFA here, I'll go ahead and exit out of this, and you come to your grantee links, and you go to the grantee portal, this is how you would access the grantee portal. And then you can see that there's an ability to create an account. So any new users that you would want to have access to Amplifund and be able to fill out these applications, they'd need to go through this process of creating an account, linking that account to your organization, and then somebody at your organization needs to grant that user access to Amplifund. One second here. There's a article in our support site that you should have a link to in your pre-award training materials that, whoops, that's Ricky's email. Grab it, copy it. I'm going to share my other screen, make it a bit simpler for you. So,
may I interrupt for just a minute?
Yeah.
Should I have training material? I only have a one-page document that tells about this organization.
We'll be sending that out if you don't have it
okay.
already. And we'll be getting it to a place. And the IDFPR will let you know how to access it, whether it's on the website or if it's sent out to everyone directly who attended this call.
Okay, going to send it by email, or how are you going to send it?
We'll get back to you on that unless IDFPR has a specific response to that right now.
Okay.
But it will be coming soon. And it'll be posted on the website as well, I think. But we'll make sure that you have access to the document and we communicate what that is. So this article goes through the single sign-on process of how you would create an account if you need to create a grantee portal account, how you would link that account to the correct organization, and then how you can grant those users access to the Amplifund grant management system. So I'm just going to go, I'm not going to go through the process of creating an account, but what I am going to show you is how to quickly log into that account using your credentials. From here, you can check your pre-qual status, but really which is important, but what we're really focusing on right now is managing our grantee portal access, coming down to the appropriate user, selecting that user, clicking edit, and then making sure they have access to the Amplifund grant management system. This is what's going to be is what's going to allow you to log into Amplifund and apply to this application. You'll save changes, then you can always return to the user list. Just keep in mind that they will have to go through this process to create the user record in the GATA grantee portal. Are there any questions about the GATA grantee portal, the fact that you need to create a user record and you need to grant that user record access to Amplifund? I also think this might be a good time to circle back to the IDFPR team. And do you have any ideas about how you'll be getting the training documents and the video resources that are delivered from this session to the applicants?
We'll likely be sending it to them via email for those who attended the meeting today.
Perfect. Awesome. And you could also potentially drop that information on the website if that would be helpful as well for folks that didn't have a chance to attend. But hopefully that answers your question to the gentleman who asked that a moment ago.
Well, I'm wondering how you're going to get my email, because the Zoom call doesn't ask for an email address or anything.
I'll be able to pull the attendance from Zoom, I believe. And also what you could do is drop your emails in the chat as well. That could be helpful, just so we can make sure and have it.
Drop it in the chat.
Yeah, yep. Drop it in the chat, and then I'll take down a copy of the email addresses as well.
And if people need to email me directly, I can also share it that way to make it easy for folks.
Is that Denise?
It is.
Okay, I got your email address here, so I can send you an email. My name's Jim Taylor, so I'll send you my
Okay.
email address here soon.
Okay, Mr. Taylor. Thank you.
Now, I'm an individual. I'm not a company. I'm a retired person, and I would like to repair a cemetery. It's my family cemetery. It's out in the middle of the field. I'm going to have to get the owner to agree to this in order to even start. Uh, as an individual, is this something I'm going to be able to do?
I think that we should, for the purposes of this training, circle back to that offline, just so we can make sure and get through all the contents today, because I think there's some nuances there. So what I would request is that you follow up with Denise offline and move through that questioning there, if that's okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep. Perfect. So that's our crash course of the CSFA overview. The biggest thing you need to understand is that you need to have a organization with the UEI to create an account, and this could be part of answering that question for you, sir. And then you need to be able to create a user account, link that user to the correct organization, and then be granted to the Amplifund grant management system as we reviewed. Next, we're going to move into the CSFA review. The CSFA is the catalog of state financial assistance. It's the single source of truth for all grant funding opportunities and money that's being distributed throughout the state. The CSFA is how you access the Gata Grantee portal, but it's also how you can browse a list of current funding opportunities. If we scroll down, we can see the opportunity here. The FY26 Cemetery Relief Grant has a little green GMS sticker next to it. So you can just click on that and then click here to apply. And now we can see the opportunity in the applicant portal. You can always go back to the CSFA and see a list of other funding opportunities as well. And if you're somebody who's thinking of receiving money from the state, it's just a good site to know about, to see all things that are happening with all programs across the state. So you can browse different agencies, all that stuff. But in particular, what we're focused on today is getting you to apply for this specific opportunity, which would be this bottom option here. But you could also take a look at the different grantee resources and FAQs and see what's out there for you to understand how you can receive monies from the state. Are there any questions about the CSFA before we move on? Okay. Now we're about to get into why we came. How do we actually apply for these funds? The first thing you'll need to do is access those opportunity details, which we already did just a second ago. So I'm going to bounce back over up into our list of current funding opportunities. This is also something that's available on the website at IDFPR. So if I hop back, give me 1 second here.
Thomas, do you mind if I interrupt while you're doing that?
Go ahead.
This is Julie from the state of Illinois. Just so everyone knows, we that because this is an open award, or an open opportunity now and it's published, any questions you have should go through an official Q&A procedure with the department. So if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, or I would email them to Denise. But for the purposes of this training, we won't be able to answer any questions related to whether or not you're eligible or anything like that. That's it's a compliance issue for the state from the GATA team. So I just want, Thomas, I'm sorry, I should have interrupted there earlier.
Fine. The The opportunity is also available from the news releases. It may be somewhere else. This is where I found it. And you can apply for the opportunity here. It's taking you to the same place. Either way you go. But at this point, this is the opportunity details from the applicant portal. So you can review some of the information here. Make sure you're the right type of program. This is where that question submission information comes from. So if you have specific questions, I think what the agency and Julie had just referenced, this is where you would be sending them. Gives you some additional information here. When you're ready, you can also download the entire application packet here if you wanted to take a look at it offline. It's going to be a PDF version. And you could also come over to help if you wanted to get a help document. But really the documents that we do or that you will be receiving for the specific processes are probably your best bet for making sure that you're ready to go for this particular program. Once you've reviewed all of the opportunity details and you're ready to go ahead and select apply. It's going to take you to that Illinois authentication portal. This is why you would need the Gata Grantee portal account so that you can log in through your public option here using your public.external.illinois.gov account. Now that I'm logged in, I can go ahead and click apply, and it's going to take me to the project information page. Are there any questions about the opportunity details before we move over to the project information?
She says, yeah, I'm testing positive for COVID.
1 second here. Let me do something.
When I got this, well, I know, so I got to make
Not hearing anything on that, so we're going to move into the navigation and project information. I'm going to reshare my screen here in about 2 seconds. Okay. All right. So, whoops. I want to do the break slide so you have a chapter point for you. So we're going to go through navigation and project information. This is a super important part of the application process when we get into some of this navigation. First, you have the navigation elements across the top of the screen here, which is going to be your project information, application forms, budget, and submission. You can navigate to different elements of the application packet through clicking on that different timeline element across the top here. You'll notice that when you get to submit, there's going to be some validation errors, and the submit option is going to be grayed out because you have incomplete parts of your application. What you're looking for is for each section to have this green circle with a white check mark after completing it. To do that, you'll need to complete all of the required fields, and you'll need to mark the page as complete and either save or save and continue. And you'll need to do that for every page, every application form. That way, when you get to submit, you can actually submit everything. From there, you're going to fill out all your required fields, how much you're requesting for the grant funded amount. You can go ahead and leave these match requirements at 0. Leave these at 0. You don't have to track them. You're going to come down and fill out the rest of your information here. And it might just be a good idea to put your phone number even though it's not required. You should definitely put your phone number. That way the IDFPR can get a hold of you as needed. So go ahead and add that number. After you've completed all the required fields and added your phone number, you'll mark it as complete and then save and continue. And you'll notice how I have that green check mark here. If I come back, mark it as in progress, save, and then move forward, you'll notice that it's just a green circle. There's no check mark. That means I'm not going to be able to submit. So you want to be very diligent that every section of the application form, you're marking it as complete as you complete it. It would be an unfortunate instance for you not to have your application go through because you can't submit at the deadline due to things not being complete. So make sure all required fields are filled out, marking as complete, save and continue. Are there any questions about the project information page or navigation before we move on to the next section? Chat. Is there any agency context before we move on?
No, I don't have anything, Thomas.
Perfect. Okay. Next, we're going to get into the application form section. So we can just click save and continue. And this is just going to take us to the next portion of the application. You can see that you can download all the applications if you'd like. You could download one application at a time if you'd like. Sometimes people will come in and download all the applications, come back later on with all their answers, copy and paste those answers into the text boxes of the various fields. You can then see the status grid here, the application grid, where you can see the status if it's new or in progress or complete. All these will need to be completed that are if they're required. From here, really, I always just recommend starting at the top and working through the application. So you would enter you just fill out all the required fields. Take your time and make sure you're answering these questions correctly. So that when the reviewers are reviewing your application, that it's actually considered for the program. Now you're going to be filling out more than just X's here. But you want to just make sure and be as accurate as possible, provide as much information as possible so that the people reviewing your application have what they need so that you can win the grant. You can take a look at some of these conditional formatting if you wanted to provide more information about the areas included and those types of things. You're filling out the project information, the proposed start date and end date. This form is a required form for anybody receiving money from the state of Illinois. It's called the Uniform Grant Application. So once you fill everything out, then you can mark it as complete and save and continue. And it's going to take you to the next application form. And this is where you get into the heart of what the agency is actually requesting from you. So that first application is the state's information. This is the agency information. You're coming in, reading the instructions, taking a look at each question and adding the required information for your project into these various boxes here, making sure that it's as much information as possible, not just like dumping information into it, but providing that information that your funders need to approve your application. There's only a few questions here, so it's not too difficult. And then you're going to upload some photos of the proposed site to be cleaned up. And then later on, you'll be documenting the before and after kind of effect here. So you would choose a file, add that file, those photos, and then you would mark it as complete and save and continue. There's a conflict of interest form with some context here that you can review. And you'll enter your response based off of what the needs are. I'll let you go ahead and read through all of this later on as you apply. Mark as complete Save and continue. And then I believe the final one here is just uploading proof of your business structure and then proof of contact with your business, with the cemetery owner, rather. Same concept here. You're just choosing the appropriate file for both options. Then you mark as complete and save and continue. And that'll take us to the budget portion. Before I get into that, we come back to this applications tab. We're seeing that everything's marked as complete. We're good to go. Are there any questions about how to fill out the application forms?
Yes.
What's up? How can we help? I'm sorry, was there a question?
I have a question. It's Sharon.
Yeah, please.
On your that last page, it says something about like, upload proof of current business structure. So if we're a municipality, what would that be?
That's a good question.
And then the next part, upload proof of contact with the cemetery owner if the village owns it.
Good question.
Sharon, again, this is Julie from the Grant Accountability and Transparency Unit. The DFPR team should be able to answer those questions. You can send them to Denise, and the GATA rules require that all grantees get answers to every question that's asked about this. So we need you to officially request those through Denise, and then they can provide an answer to that so that all grantees have the same information.
Okay, I seen Denise's contact or something pop up there for momentarily.
In the chat, yes.
Yes, it's
Denise
still there. It's still in the chat.
It's still in the chat. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions about filling the forms out and working through the system functionality?
Hi, Thomas. This is Camille. I had a quick question about the beginning of the application. It asked people for, I believe, a DUNS ID and some other forms of ID. And so I was just curious to know how people go about getting those document numbers. So, yeah, right there. I assume for the taxpayer identification number, people can put in their social security number if they are applying as an individual, as one of the people mentioned?
That is another good question. I don't know if I am the right person to answer that specific question about the contents of what would be filled out, but I'll echo Julie Bauman's statement about how these questions can be sent to the agency, and those questions can be answered in a way that the same information will be disseminated to everyone. So I'm not sure about the particulars of how that would work based off your business structure and what you should be filling in here.
The eligible applicants will be listed in the NOFO. So if individual persons are allowed to submit for this grant, that'll be in the notice of funding opportunity.
Quick question, if I might ask.
Mhm.
Is at any process, so this is all saved, so you can go start it and then say, you still need to go collect more information, so you don't get back to it for another week. You don't have to start things over, right?
Correct. And part of the last portion of this demo, I'm going to show you how you can save this and come back to it later or review it if it's reopened or anything like that. Yep, you're absolutely right.
Okay, thank you, because we're still trying to see what cemeteries would benefit from this.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why some people come in and just download everything. and then they review it and come back later, or they'll come in and fill out the project information, save it, and come back later, etc.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and move into the budget section. Excuse me. Hop back into the system. Save and continue. Now we're in the budget section here. These are the allowable budget categories that you can enter line items against for your project. The total overall budget cost must equal 0, which indicates that you've reconciled your budget entries against the award requested amount. If for whatever reason you realize that, hey, it's actually supposed to be $12,000, you can always come back up to the project information page, update the requested amount, click save. Excuse me. Okay, after that attack there, you can click save and then hop back into your budget. And now you'll see that it's a $12,000 amount. So there's a relationship between your overall budget cost and the amount requested on the project information page that you can manage by toggling back and forth. Just make sure anytime you change the amount on the project information page, you're saving it before navigating back to the budget. Then from there, you're going to come in and enter, okay, well, how much are we of this $12,000 request is going towards various budget categories. To add a budget line item, you're going to click the plus icon next to the appropriate category. So let's say 6,000 of this is going to go towards personnel. You're going to add the name and position. Maybe they make $60,000 a year. 600, that'd be nice. On a yearly basis, maybe they're only spending 10% of their time on this program. Go ahead and use the decimal system for the percentages as I just did there. And then they're for a year. So they're spending 10% of their time for a year, which is going to total out to a $6,000 direct cost. Then you're going to add in a detailed narrative about what this person or line item is going to do specifically. And I wouldn't shortcut on this because these are the types of things that IDFPR is going to be reviewing when they're scoring your application. So I'm not saying it has to be a novel, but if you can provide enough information to give your funders what they need to approve your application, that's what you're looking for. And then you can add in any supporting documentation here about what that line item is or anything that your funders can use to review and ultimately, hopefully, approve your application. So you would pick a file. I think you can do multiple files. You could open those if you wanted one or multiple, and they'll all populate here. And then you would create that. Oh, look, forgot my narrative. Then I would go ahead and click create. Now I would be able to see that line item here, and I'd be able to see it reflected in the overall cost of the budget. I could come back in and click edit if I need to, make some changes, or I could delete that line item if I need to. Then I would rinse and repeat that process. Say I need some supplies here. You see supplies is going to be a little bit different than what we did for personnel. There's going to be a cost rate, let's say $200, and maybe I need 10 of those. I'd add my narrative. And then I'd choose any supporting documentation files. and click create. And then you see how it's continually drawing from that total overall budget cost, reconciling against the award requested amount. Maybe we have some miscellaneous costs. Coming in, filling out the required fields, adding the narrative, adding your supporting documentation, click and create. And now we have a reconciled budget. This is probably what's going to take up a little bit more time as you're filling out the budget, getting used to this functionality. The application forms are pretty simple. Fill out this information. But the budget has different fields based off different categories and things like that. So we have some time here, and this is typically where applicants would have some questions. So I want to open it up to see what are your initial thoughts of this budget entry, for one, and then for two, if you have any questions about how it works or want me to review anything before moving on to the next section. For those of you on the call, does this seem like a manageable process?
This is Sharon. I came in late, but so far it looks reasonable and easier than some of the other grants that I've worked on.
Nice. I'll take that as a win. Appreciate you speaking up there. I want to pause again just to make sure that anybody on the call who may have some questions or concerns that they want to work through with the budget entry piece, this is the really good time to do that so that you have what you need to apply.
Thomas, I don't know if you can see the chat, but Debbie said it's very user friendly. So just some additional feedback.
All right, good. Perfect. Well, then we can go ahead and move on. The one thing I'll call out is just make sure and remember, like sometimes people get stuck because they think, oh, I need $2,000 more here to really reconcile everything. So I might save this, right? So I don't lose progress, but then go back to the project information. I actually want 14. Save this, toggle back to the budget, and now I have $2,000 more to reconcile. So maybe I forgot my construction line item, come in here, add that line item, add that description, direct cost, narrative. You might ask yourself, what's the difference between a description and a narrative? Well, the description is what is the construction taking place. The narrative is how does this relate to the program? Why would IDFPR fund you for this particular line item? If you can answer those things, then you have a much better chance of getting approved. Then you'll select your supporting docs, click create. We're reconciled, mark it as complete, save and continue. And now we're over the hill. The next portion is submitting the application. All of our work coming to the end. This is my favorite part. We'll hop back into the system. If all of your marks are green here, you're good to go. I'm always kind of a measure twice, 3 times, cut once kind of a person. So I might go back and just check everything again, make sure it looks good, up top to bottom, come back into my application forms. Might want to check that all my numbers are correct here, you know, that I've selected the correct option. Just making sure that everything's good. Then coming back to submit, go ahead and download a review of the complete application. If you click this, give the system, it's a lot of data. Excuse me. So give the system a second. Sometimes it doesn't happen as quickly as we'd like, but it's a good tool for you to download that completed packet, and then you can go ahead and click submit. Sometimes it takes a second to load, but you'll be looking for this submit button here, and you'll get that green check. And this means that you have successfully submitted your application. Are there any questions about submitting? It's a pretty easy part. Okay. The next thing we're going to do. Oh, did somebody have something?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
On the budget, they had a column for non-grant funding. Is non-grant funding required? Is this a matching grant, or is this strictly just an outright grant for a project?
So my current understanding is that you're going to be leaving these at 0 and you wouldn't be required to track match. I'll pass it over to IDFPR if they'll open that up for optional or not. But my question is, you would just be focusing on, or my understanding is you'd just be focusing on the grant funded.
Okay, thank you.
IDFPR, is that correct, or did I just sabotage myself there?
No, you're correct.
Okay. Okay. So the next thing is the applicant portal. This is what
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, going back to that plan to contribute to the budget, is it preferred that we don't add anything in to contributing to the budget?
Yeah, it's going to be a no. Don't you just leave these all at 0. And what you're asking IDF, you're saying, hey, IDFPR, I want $14,000 to do this project. You're going to leave this blank, fill out the rest of this information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's good questions. So this next piece is the applicant portal. What happens, if I want to start this and then come back later, right? So what we're going to do is, give me 1 second here. I'm going to hop over. Give me 1 second here. I want to get the right link so that I can show you this, how it will actually work. So what you're going to do, in the public link is going to be available in your resources, or not the public link, but the link to get into Amplifund is shared in your resources. But essentially what you're going to do is you'll drop in the link to log into Amplifund. You're going to log in from your public account option. Uh-oh. Give me 1 second. I think that's because I was just logged in other places. Okay, it's exactly what it was. I'm going to share this other screen. Don't let that discourage you. So when you log in, this is what you're going to see. Now, you're not going to be able to don't worry about any of this right now. This stuff's going to come over from post-award, and we're going to train you up on exactly what we're doing now, exactly what steps you need to take when it's time to start tracking progress against your grant if you're selected. For now, though, you can log in, and what you'll do is once you log in, you're going to come into this thing called the applicant portal. Now, this is a test account, so you're going to see a ton of applications here. Don't worry about that right now. You're only going to have maybe 1 or 2, depending upon how many applications you have. And you can see all the applications that like, for example, this is what you'd be looking for. Maybe you saved it. It's not submitted yet. You can go back into it and start to go through the process, right? This is going to be the place you would also go if something was, let's see if I can't find any reopened ones fairly easily. There might be a status of reopened, for example. So you might have an application that IDFPR reopens to get more information from you, and that would have a status of reopened, and then you could go in and resubmit the application. So whether it's saved or excuse me, unsubmitted, and you're going in, getting the details, coming back in and filling everything out later, or if your application's reopened and IDFPR says, hey, please go in and fix these couple of things and then resubmit, you would access that through the applicant portal. And you can toggle back and forth from Amplifund and the applicant portal through your name drop down on the top right of the screen. Does that answer your question for the person who asked that earlier? And are there any other questions about how you might start an application and then come back in and start working through it later on through the applicant portal by seeing the status and then selecting the appropriate application and moving through that process? Are you, I saw somebody that says in the chat, I can't find the application. Are you following along with where I'm in now and you're toggling back and forth between the two accounts? The reason you probably can't see it is because you haven't started it yet. So once you start the application through the public link and you save that application, then you can move through it, or you can access it from the applicant portal. I'm sorry, I was distracted by a couple of trying to find. I'm adding Ricky as the co-host. Give me a second, Ricky. Sorry about that. I added the wrong person. The list kept shifting. All right, you're the co-host now, Ricky. Sorry about that. So once you start the application process, then you'll be able to apply, and that can be accessed through the website or through the CSFA, as we reviewed at the beginning of the call. Really quickly, we can probably circle back to that after we go through some customer support. Then I'll go back into how you can access the application. So the production link I just used to log in is here. It's also in your training documents. And then there's the Amplifund support site and the support email and even a support phone number that you can use to call. So I would highly encourage you to leverage if you're having any technical issues with the application portal, or you're not able to access something that you feel you should be able to access, that's when you would reach out to Amplifund customer support, as compared to some of the more programmatic related questions that have been asked, like who qualifies and these types of things. Our customer support team isn't going to know any of that, but they will be able to help you with any technical issues like, hey, I'm not able to save this page, or I've got everything complete, but I still can't submit these types of things. That's where our support team will really come in spades for you. And then you can just coordinate with the IDFPR staff on the more programmatic related questions. Then finally, I am happy to stay on and answer some of these questions.
Yeah, Thomas.
Yep.
I have a question. I don't know if you can help me on this. I was on a board of an arts organization, and we used to get money from the Illinois Arts Council that would re-grant, and we developed a scoring process when we were reviewing the local applications for the re-granting. Any hints on what IDFR is looking for when they're scoring these applications?
That's not my wheelhouse.
Okay.
There may be some information like in their NOFO guidance or the website or the press releases and things like that. But that's definitely a question for the IDFPR staff.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Carrie,
Yep.
that is this is Julie Bauman with GATU. That's definitely
Yeah.
going to be in the opportunity. So they should have all of the scoring criteria in there.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Julie.
Mhm.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Well, thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone.
Well, I'll hang out for a little bit longer. If you don't have any questions, I think you're obviously free to go. And I hope this was helpful. And I look forward to seeing what comes out of this and who all applies and where all this goes. I appreciate your time today.
Very good. Thank you.
Tom, this is Sharon again. I read on the email from IML that you guys are going to be sending this out in like a PowerPoint. How soon do you expect that to happen?
I'm going to package all this up for the idea. It'll either be first thing tomorrow morning or first thing Monday morning that the agency receives everything that we've reviewed today. And then we'll work together to make sure everybody has what they need for the program and the training materials.
Thomas, Thomas, if we get everything for Monday, that'd be great because I will be out of the office tomorrow. So
okay, Monday's better for me, so that's great.
And who's going to be sending it to us, and how do they know who to send it to? Because we didn't actually register for this webinar.
Well, first I'm going to grab attendance from this session. Sorry. Then additionally, we asked everybody to drop their names into the chat, or their name and email into the chat, so that we could have a secondary list to make sure everybody gets it. And then I'm sure we can work some things out to drop the resources on the.
And Thomas, my information is in the chat as well if they want to just directly email me or call me. Okay.
Yep. So they can, and you can also reach out to Denise as well.
Thank you.
Hi, quick question real quick. You said the scoring points were could be found where?
Let me get 1 second here.
The scoring points should be the way that a grant is for a merit-based scoring would be the criteria would be in the notice of funding opportunity, the NOFO.
Oh, thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Any other questions?
Thomas, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Terry Wygant from Bishop Hill. I'm Sharon's cohort, and I am the sexton for the cemetery. And all this is all new to me, and Sharon is much better at it. But in the very beginning, I wasn't even sure I was running the right meeting because I didn't hear anything about cemetery. So you were going over, we need to have an Amplifund account first, right?
Yep.
And then we go in from there.
Yeah, you'll need to get it. Really, what you need is the GATA grantee portal account.
Now, Sharon knows that.
And
so we have to have that. Go ahead, Sharon.
We do have the GATA or the GATA and the DUNS number and all of that.
But do you have the people? So whoever's going to be using Amplifund, have they created a user record and connected it to that account?
No.
Okay. So in your resources, and I can drop this in the chat as well so that you can have it. There's a process through which people would need to take. Let's say we go to the support site here. Type in single sign-on. This article goes through the exact steps of what you would need to do for a user to create, or for somebody to create a user record, and then link that user record to a GATA grantee portal organization. And then from there, what you would be doing is, Sharon, I believe, so do you have access to the GATA grantee portal account from your side of things?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I didn't quite follow how to link that to the grantee portal.
So take a look at that article I sent you, and then when you essentially when you can log into the Gata Grantee portal,
Mhm.
and you'll use the credential. From here, you can scroll down,
Mhm.
and there's going to be a list of users, Grantee portal access. And these are going to be all the people who have access to your Gata Grantee portal account, right?
Correct.
And then you're going to click manage. You're going to scroll down, select the appropriate user that you want to have access to Amplifund, click edit, and then you're going to make sure that they just check this box. So they could technically have access to Amplifund, but not the Gata Grantee portal. They could have access to the Gata Grantee portal or not Amplifund, or they could have access to both.
So that Amplifund's just been added recently, or has it always been there?
It depends on what you say recently is. If it's 5, 6 years, then yeah. But it's been I don't know
That's the
how.
first I've noticed that.
So Sharon, Amplifund is this the centralized. This is Julie from GATU. So depending on whether or not an agency is subject to the GATA rules, because not every state of Illinois agency is, there's three parts to the grant management system. One is the GATA implementation website, which is what you're used to, then the grantee portal here, which Thomas is showing, and then Amplifund is going to be the centralized system. So the good part about this is that once you are registered for Amplifund, you would be able to apply for any Amplifund opportunity that from any of the other agencies. Right now, the agencies are at different stages in transitioning over to the Amplifund system. So some are in it and some are not. And we're very excited to have the department in Amplifund now. This is their first grant. We're very excited to have them as part of this. But luckily, this information will carry over to any other agency that you might want to apply for that has grants in Amplifund.
Okay.
So they're
you.
still transitioning over.
Well, I just wanted, this is Terry again. I just wanted to reiterate, that we're a town of 113 people. We don't even have an office. And so I'm sitting in my dining room and Sharon's in her little office in her home. And I struggle with this stuff. Sharon is much better with it than I am, but it is a lot for two people that, we just kind of try to work our way through it. We went for a couple grants that we did not get. So anyway, bear with me if I call you and drive you nuts with questions.
Well, that'll be Denise, but I'm sure she will be happy to help you. And that's great feedback. We know that a lot of our grantees are very small organizations. We have such the gamut throughout the state of Illinois, including volunteer fire departments and small villages like yourself. And we're just trying to streamline this process to make it easy for you. The technology piece is what Amplifund support site will help with. If you have any difficulty with logins or any of the screens on there, please feel free to reach out to their support site. They are available to you at all times and they can help you walk through that. And they do have connections with my team at GATU and with the agency teams as well. So we're all in communication and, just keep doing your best. I have a real passion for this grant, so rock on to all of you who are doing it. We hope that you will apply for it and ask your questions, and that's perfectly fine.
Do you have any idea, like what percentage of people will actually get a grant? I know that's a hard question.
Sharon, that is a fantastically hard question to answer. The best answer that I can give you, because we're not we can't predict anything like that. Based on if you follow the instructions in the notice of funding opportunity and your application meets the criteria that's listed in the NOFO, you have, all of those, any organization that submits an acceptable application will be considered for it. That's what I can tell you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Denise or Ricky, is there any additional context you'd like to add, or does anybody have any additional questions for Thomas?
I think I do not. Thank you.
All right. Well, I again echo everything that's been said. We're really excited to get Department of Financial and Professional Regulations going with the cemetery relief grant. We're wishing all of you the best of luck in your application process. Amplifund will be here to support you from the technical side. The agency will be here to support you from the programmatic side. And maybe if we all work together, it'll all work out. So I really appreciate your time together or today. And I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you all next time.
Good luck, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Good day.